On there, more than 800 videos are listed, and you can choose and search what topic you want to hear, and you can get some basic knowledge for your question. And sometimes I have clients coming to me asking questions. My first thing is that, okay, did you already go through our channel to, listen to the webinars that I have talked about in the past? If not, I would encourage you to listen to that first, then come back in for questions, because that will give you a step up on the understanding of your question and the answer we give you. So our website is also another tool that you could utilize. On our website, you can go to appointment button, and there you will see the time, the people that you can make appointment with online. We do all of these appointments online on Zoom, so I'll see you, and you can check out my time. When you click me and you see this is the available time, I'm telling you, folks here at Community CPA, they are slave drivers because they make me work like 8:30 p.m. They get my time opening all the way to 8:30. Not exactly that, and I am a night owl, so I kind of like to work in the evening. So that's why you have a, late afternoon appointment. So this is the way to get a hold of us, folks. And if you need our help, and please don't hesitate. That's how you find us. And now let's begin our planned training. All right, I will go ahead show you our topics today, IRS Letter and Notices. Like I said, it is not something I just pull up from the internet and give you an hour of a spill. No. What we have seen here for the last 4 weeks is in this presentation. And that actually tells you the trend, what's going on right now with IRS. So I will want you to follow me, and let's just comprehend what's going on with IRS, what you need to do if you are the lucky one, got one of those letters and the notices. All right. Prior to every of our presentation, I do introduce myself, and you might know me already, but I also know every time we have new followers coming into our YouTube channel, don't forget to do subscribe button, so you will always know what's new, what's got posted just now, and turn on that little belt, so it will tell you, hey, Ying posted something else again, so you can see. And we try to make our knowledge very timely, so it is not unrelated to what's going on today, and is related. On Tuesday, we are going to talk about FDIC insurance related to banking industry. The reason we talk about that is because a lot of people are calling about the deposit in the bank, how that is secured, what kind of insurance FDIC is all about. So we're going to introduce that. You see how we reflect what's going on right now in our life, right? So IRS letters and notices is the same thing. That is what's going on right now. And I am the CEO and the managing partner at Community CPA. I tell you why I am, because I founded Community CPA back in 1998. So, with a thought and a vision and a belief that this is a needed service for a lot of folks just like you out there. We collectively at our firm, we speak 9 different languages. So I myself speak Chinese, Mandarin, other than English. And so I have many other staff speak different languages. So our cup of tea is to understand your language that you speak easily. So in case you felt like your culture was not understood, your language was awkward, and you felt like you're not connecting with the other big shot of CPA, then come to small people like us, and we will help you, right? And I also served on National Taxpayer Advocacy Panel, and that is an honor. And not everybody can serve on those panels. And I was there for 3 years and providing advices to IRS along with other team members. So that is a exercise. It's a necessary experience for me to understand IRS and appreciate IRS in so many different levels after I got into to know what they are doing. So I would not be those ones who come online tell you IRS, is a shithole and you don't need to worry about them. Let's just trash them and they're not legit. And, no. IRS has a vast experience and a system and knowledge inside of the system. Every answer you want is within that irs.gov website. So that website is my most frequent searched website in every question that you give me. So that is how we learn what we are doing and help you to save taxes and not just trying to hide away from IRS, but facing IRS properly, save taxes, and never pay a penny on tips. No, IRS don't need your tips. They just need you to be in compliance. And with that said, I also want to tell you that I am an author. I wrote my first book in 2019. That book is called Appointment with Ying at 8 a.m. And I just finished my second book, Appointment with Ying at 10 a.m. And so it is on its way to be published. So you will soon find that on the Amazon. That second book, the first book, the 8 a.m. is how to start a business. The second book is how to grow a business. Right now, Ying is writing the third one called Appointment with Ying at 2 p.m. You know what I do at 2 p.m.? Merger and acquisition. So if you are growing your business at a certain level and you finish my first two books, yes, your third step in the day is to acquire and merger and expand your business to certain ways. Of course, if you don't want to expand, you are at the point to sell the business. So that's my third book. Then my last book is 6 p.m. is retiring from your business. Don't ask me how I'm doing with that. And it is not yet in my life elements, so I'm not really thinking about that yet. But after I finish the 2 p.m., I'll be working on the 6 p.m. So hopefully, while I'm finishing the 6 p.m., I also mapped out the journey that I should go. With that said, let's see the next slide, which shows you the 10 a.m. book. I still haven't really decided whether I want the cover to look just like that, but I know it is going to be one of my picture, but I don't know which one. It will be at 10 a.m. All right. No responsibility disclaimer just because it's a free webinar. And, the more we talk, the more opportunities for someone to make a mistake or make a statement that is outdated. And whichever case is, and take it with grain of salt so you don't end up making wrong decisions based on the wrong information. And of course, if you really want to engage us, if you really want us to take responsibility of what we did for you, you come to engage us to work with us. So that way, and we put our thoughts around your circumstance so you can get a proper advice, more specific advice. So now, let's see why we even get notified by the IRS. Why do you even get a letter? You get letter for many, many reasons. You get notice for many reasons. So I listed several. Now is the most popular because everybody, not everybody, but a lot of notices are related to this. You have a balance due. You just filed tax return and maybe the tax preparer said that you're going to get $1 million refund. But then you got a letter goes, oh no, you owe money. So, IRS will send you a notice, tell you that no, you didn't get $1 million refund. Instead of you got a balance due. And then they also can tell you that, send you a letter goes, we just got your return, but you calculated it wrong, and your refund amount is different. So that's a notice too. And then, of course, you could get notice about, okay, we want to look at one item of your tax return. You just finished the tax return. That's why a lot of notices are coming out just for your tax return. And they want to verify your identity. They could send you a letter. And they also would want additional information. They send you a letter. Or they say, I changed your return. So simply as that. So give you a new number. So all of these, including they're saying that we need more time to process your refund. That is also possible. So all of these communication right now for the last 4 weeks are vastly related to your tax filing that you just filed the return. All right. So our next one. I'm trying to move my slides, but it won't. The mouse is not coming to there. All right, now it's working. All right, so other than these notices related to your tax filing, one of the other things I have, for whatever reason, my IT folks, and it's not moving. My slides is not moving. Okay, now it's moving. But it's missing stuff. That's okay. I know what's in here. So one of the most noticed letter we are getting is 2202. So what is 2202? This slide's missing the bottom part, but not a problem. So the 2202 is a letter, and on the letter, it says to you that which tax return they want to examine is an audit letter. I always tell my folks that don't try to, IRS don't really give you an audit notice by phone call. They're never going to call you say, hey, John, lucky you, I am auditing you. They don't do that. IRS sending the audit letter like a little mail bomb. So it's like a plain looking letter. And when you open it up, it has IRS seals on one side, then have your tax return, your information on the right hand side. Then in the middle of the letter, it shows the time and the day they want to see you. Then on the bottom of the letter, it is actually shows you what they want to see you for. So that letter is an audit letter. When you receive these letters, the first sentence is you are selected to be audited. They just use the word of selected. You are selected to be audited. And that letter is the letter that we have seen for the last 4 weeks for some taxpayers. So whether you're a business or you're personal, so this letter could come to you. When you got this letter, what do, folks? Do you just ignore it and thinking, wow, just a letter asking for a date. I'm not even in the country. I decided to ignore it. Is that the way to do it? No. When you receive this letter and you want to do assessment to figure out whether you want someone to represent you to deal with the auditor, or you are going to spend your time to deal with the auditor. And really, if you have a very clean tax return, I'm telling you, the letter is not scary. And you just simply answer what they're asking, supply to them what you claimed on your tax return, and it's done. So you may say that, oh, Ying, what is the worst I would get if I got this letter? The worst, it is actually you pay money. And what is the best if you got the letter? The best is you don't pay money. And do we have even better ones? Like say I get a refund? I'm telling you. And for 25 years, I'm working with IRS. And this kind of a letter coming into me, and I, work on the audit for client, there was only one case. I got like $500 refund for the client. Only once. The reason why I just got only once, how come you didn't do so good? You got every of your client refund instead of payment. I'll tell you why. Because IRS selecting taxes to be audited, not just randomly lottery. They have their database already did analysis on you. They felt that you are suspicious enough that your items are out of norm enough that they believe it is worth of selecting you and audit you. With that kind of process, you know that most likely and you would fall short on something, so you will pay something. But if you owe a lot, owe more than $25,000 taxes per year, and your case can be referred for criminal investigation. And how do you know it is criminal investigation or it is a regular audit? And you can simply ask the auditor. They will tell you. You can say that, hey, can you just be nice to me? Tell me why I'm getting audited. I tell you, the auditor will tell you. And then if it is a criminal investigation, and most likely, if you're not being charged to go to jail, and you'll be charged with the civil penalty, which is 50% of all the taxes you need to pay. So that's a double whammy, and you will pay a lot. Okay, so that is the letter 2202, folks. Not a good letter to receive. I hope you never receive one. But if you do receive one, you know that you have some work to do. Or your tax preparer and your CPA has some work to do for you, right? And these are the notices we have seen lately coming through to the taxpayer. And you notice that the first 4 of them is sort of all related to tax payment, like CP10, adjustment to your next year's estimated tax. You owe too much money in 2022, so IRS send you a CP10, tell you that in 2023, and make sure you pay more taxes, okay, every quarter. So that kind of notice. It's not scary, but it is important for you to follow what IRS wants you to do. CP11, you got additional tax due. Your tax return was calculated incorrectly, so you're going to pay more. All right? And so those are, you can feel like those are just kind of reactive letter to your tax filing. Whatever you filed, if it is not right, and then IRS machine already corrected you, they spill out they spit out the CP11, CP10, and nobody even looked at it. It's a letter. It's an automatic letter to tell you that you owe. And the CP2324 is related to estimated tax amount. You know how when we file taxes, let's say you have a company C corporation tax return, and you already made estimated tax payment for $200,000, and when we file your taxes, we put $200,000 there for you because you told us that you put in a $200,000 estimated tax. But you don't know one of your estimated tax actually was coded into the wrong year, becoming maybe 2021's payment. Whatever happened at IRS's place, so your estimated tax was short. So when you put in a higher number, then the actual short number, then you're going to be paying more taxes, right? So that's when the CP23 would show up on your desk, says that estimated taxes was wrong, you're doing more taxes. So, right? So those are more like related to estimated tax. So it's at like a 20 level, you know? So you kind of can feel like the lower number, the 10 level, the 11, and they're like reactive to what you just filed. Then the 23, 24 are estimated tax related. So it is like reacting as well, but reacting on the payment you made during that year being incorrect. So of course, CP161 is balance due not paid. If you file tax return and you owe money and you didn't send in the payment, you get 161. So they got your tax return. They're like, you said you owe, why are you not paying? So give you a CP161 reminding you to pay. Then calculating interest penalty for you, right? All right. Then 2 more CP notice that in 200 level. The 200 level ones we see, one of them is 259, is ask you to file business return in that notice period. So what happened is now we finished filing taxes already, right? And, for company and the personal, unless you already have extension you didn't file, but normally you finished filing 2022. Now, the IRS also knows how is your business making money. So if you didn't file business tax return, but they saw you have $2 million 1099K sitting on their system, so IRS will send you the CP259 and it's reminding you, hello, you didn't file your company tax return. So that is a notice to remind you, hey, you forgot to file your return. And the CP261, you know how sometimes you got an LLC, and when you file tax return and your tax preparer goes, oh, I think you need to be S corporation. All right, I'm S corporation. So the S election was done, late election. Then the IRS system need to change your EIN number to S corporation. What if they did not change it? If they did not change it when you send in the S corporation tax return, the IRS will reject it, right? So you need to send in your newly elected S corporation tax return with the notice of CP261. That becomes something you have to have. If you don't have, that means they haven't really changed their system. IRS haven't really changed their system yet. Then that means for you, and when you file taxes, it won't go through. So CP261 is a notice that you needed to have when you filed the late election. So with that said, that's one of the very common notices we're getting, like when people got the S corporation elected. All right, two more notices are often we get. We see that from the taxpayer, which is CP2000. CP2000 and the CP2100. Let me explain. CP2000 is a mechanical matching notice from what you filed to what IRS has in their system. So let's say if you have a W-2 on hand, you put that W-2 in your 1040 and you submitted your return. But IRS side shows the W-2 was 10 more. You only put in 10,000. IRS shows that you got that W-2 for 100,000. So the CP2000 will immediately be triggered. So you'll be getting a notice from IRS showing you that this is what you filed. This is what I have in my IRS system. This is how much more you owe me. Okay, so CP2000 is a reactive notice. It's reacting on your return doesn't match to IRS data. And the CP2100 and the CP2100A are related to 1099 unmatching. So what is 1099? Subcontractors. And you probably did your 1099 for your subcontractors and you submitted to IRS. IRS sent you back CP2100 saying that, oh no, your social security number or IT number of that taxpayer don't match. So that is the notice we have seen very often nowadays. So these are the most common notices that you see. We have seen lately. So hopefully from what we have seen lately, and that give you some clue of what you might see on your end. Anything outside of that is unique and doesn't mean that IRS don't send them out. There's so many. I was trying to print out all the CP notice and also letter kind from IRS. And you know how many pages that was? That was 173 pages. So I give up and I'm like, no, I'm just going to check on internet then. So you can actually go on to irs.gov to look at all their letter type and all their CP notice type. So a practice point to give you is when you see a letter or a notice, and you know how they have this code, right? CP11, CP10. You go on to IRS website, irs.gov, just type into that letter and let them explain to you what is the letter and why you're getting it. It's actually very, very easy to read. And, sometimes folks are too busy, just don't want to read it. They want Community CPA to read for them. That's fine. And that's why we have business here, so we don't mind to read it for you. But you can absolutely do it yourself. All right. Of course, there's many notices, type of notice that are sent to the business. But this is the step when you receive your letter and your notice. What do we want you to do? We want you to read, review the letter carefully, and compare their information to what you submitted. You see, read and compare, and just really don't sweat on it. And I at one time story. And I came to, this was a long time ago, and I actually came into the office very early in the morning. I think I came in around 6, very early in the morning, because I want to get things done. Then I have another car parked outside of my office. The engine was on. It was kind of a cold winter, and there was a guy sitting in the car waiting for outside of my office. So I went in the office, got a little bit scared, and thinking, why is he outside? Then he knocked the door, came in, and said that he got these notices from IRS, and he's very scared. He had a shoebox of them, and almost none of them was open. So he just opened maybe the most recent one, got really scared, so he couldn't sleep. He said he's just going to sit here, wait for me until I come. And so there, I got this case. Actually, he owes $58,000 total to IRS, but the amount due were so old already. So he has like literally 1 year or 2 year time frame that tax liability will go away. So I looked at his case. The reason he got a lot more letters and more very scary letters is because the statutory limitation is about to expire. IRS is about to lose all of the $58,000 tax liabilities on him. So that's why he's getting more letters. He got more scared. And so, we look at the letter and look at the situation, and I worked with him and get that resolved. But you see how the letter can really getting on your nerve, right? It getting on this gentleman's nerve can get on your nerve as well. But just, take a pill, and chill out and read it. And respond timely. It is the key. You don't have to respond to it if you don't want to. And your representative, like CPA, like myself, can respond to IRS for you. But you need to come in and engage our firm, engage me, so I can actually talk for you, right? Then, of course, if IRS asks you money and they're asking for the right amount, you just pay. There is no other ways to get around from IRS liability calling, and you either pay or you do installment, or you wait for 10 years, the statutory limitation wearing off, and you don't need to pay anymore. Okay? For 10 years, 10 years is a lot of years. And, to run away from IRS for 10 years long is not that easy. Because when you work in the work, they send the levies to your job, and they will take money from you before you reach 10 years. Okay? So pay if it is required. And also, there is a thing called offering compromise. And let's say, we have done offering compromise for a business lady, and she owed about 50-some thousand. Then offering compromise reduced that to 5,000 something. So yes, that can be done, but with a lot of conditions. And so don't imagine, don't fall into those advertising tell you that pay me 5,000, we can do offering compromise. Don't do that. When you do offering compromise, you really need to know who that person is, because that whole process takes years. So that business who does offering compromise for you need to stay in business for years. Otherwise, you paid money, they fold, and you're not going to get anything done. Okay? Just don't be too naive when you work with people, especially when you work with the government cases. It's all require a very long time. So you want to work with the company that is already there for a long time, not some individual just come up and then 2 years later they're gone, right? So that offering compromise is an avenue to go, but it takes a lot to get there. It is possible to get there, so that's why I encourage you to engage professional, to engage your lawyers to do that. All right. And of course, the other advice we have is retain. Keep a copy of your notice. Keep a nice copy by day sequence, right? The oldest notice on the top, the newest on the bottom, so that you can always refer the process of the flow, which step you are in. And you can, if you don't agree with the notice at all, you can write to IRS. They always have fax number. It is really easy to work with them, folks, and don't see them as someone you cannot reach out to. Actually, you can reach out to them directly. You can also reach out to them via company like Community CPA, person like Ying, right? All right. Always keep a copy of the payment you made. Trust me, so many times the client make a payment applied to the wrong place. So many times. And I will tell you that this is something there's no way to prevent, because it's not taxpayers' issue. Sometimes when payment went into different campus or landed with someone new, so it's got keyed in wrong, classified wrong, very normal. If you paid and have not been credited, then you can send them a copy of your paid copy, the check, so to have IRS figure that out, okay? And you can also do electronic pay. This is very important. If you can do electronic pay, you don't do it any other way. And EFTPS is for the company. You can pay company dues via EFTPS. And for personal, and you can do it on IRS.gov website. If your payment is stolen, and the notice will tell you that what action to take. Okay, so IRS will cooperate with you to tell you what to do with the payment that you made, but it's just not there. Okay, so but keeping track of what you paid, that's really important. CP260, and coming back to that last two, CP260, mismatching notice, right? And so basically, IRS has a set of data coming from a third party. For example, your employee, your employer, and your ex-employer, and the Social Security, and your bank. What else? Like your stock trading account, your brokerage firm. So all of these people are gathering different report to IRS. That is listed under your Social Security number when you file your 1040, and the system really just look at each other, goes, do we agree with each other? If it is agree, your return just disappeared with billions returns. It doesn't matter. Not every return get audited. If you have nothing to caught any machine eyes, and then you will not be audited, right? Unless you are drug dealers and they found you, or you're, getting too much attentions and they like to see how you are doing. So there's other reasons. But for this particular one, and you want to make sure that what you presented to IRS and what IRS has are the same. So if it is not the same, you get CP260. You want to complete the inquiry they give you. They want you to show them the W-2. They want you to look to see whether you got this interest income or not, and making sure you do every line of what they say. You have a difference, agree, disagree, and then the one you agree, you can pay for it, right? So do not equal CP260 to audit. It's not the same thing as 2202. It is not the same. The 2202 may not be triggered by CP260, but CP260 could trigger letter 2202. Just because if you're so superstitious and thinking that every time IRS look at you, and you're going to be somehow highlighted, and then maybe upon your wish, and you will be audited, but normally CP260 are not. All right, so what is CP2100? Remember we talked about this related to 1099, and look at what I wrote there. CP2100, 50 or more incorrect 1099. If you got a CP2100, you got more than 50 incorrect 1099. That's too many. Okay? Don't do that to yourself. Then if it is CP2100A, which means you have less, you could have 1, 2, 3, whatever, right? That means you really need to do some work. If you receive this, it means that the 1099 is missing. or did not match with IRS record of the payee name and the payee taxpayer identification number. What is taxpayer identification number? It's either Social Security number or IT number or EIN number. Just these three, one of the three. All right? If you receive this, have your accountant compare the record to the notice list. Make sure your record and your notice list, you look. IRS may ask you for update information, but if they didn't ask you for update information and you looked at it, it's the same. You didn't make a mistake. Then you don't have to do anything. Okay? And there is a notice B that you need to know, which stands for backup withholding. So the idea is that if you have this individual and with a 1099 income from you pay this person 1099, and this person doesn't have a valid ID with the IRS. Every time you submit this person is an error coming back, you're supposed to do backup withholding on this person. Backup withholding, and you use the B notice to do it, and there is a link on this slide. That's where you can find them. Okay? And you want to make sure, I know it is a lot to tell you, but as a business owner, I know you're a business owner just like me, and when you came across the situation, you know what to do. So you can call us up, you can go on internet, you just remember Ying said that backup withholding stuff. I'm going to take a look at it. So you do that, okay? And make sure that you file backup withholding and within 30 days from the date of notice, and the payment should be filed under the form 945. All right. Then IRS issue CP26100 and the CP26100A twice a year. And one time in October and one time in April. The April is the following year, okay? Which means that right now in October, we would get the notice for 2022 unmatched. If you don't do anything, you didn't really or you misplaced the notice, it's okay. The same notice is going to come out again to you in April of 2024. If you lost your notice, there is the 1-800 number you call for, okay? And then I want to tell you that if you don't file the backup withholding and you don't do this form 945, folks, you might end up needing to pay penalty and needing to pay interest. So under the bottom, it is a little light, but it can tells you that up to 30 days late, $60, 31 days late through August 1st is $120, and $310, and then intentionally disregard, and that's $630 for every 1099. Not good. Don't get there. So folks, and what I want you to do is, as a business owner, when you hire subcontractors, you should have them fill up the W-9. Have them state clear of their name, their company name, their EIN number or their IT number or their Social Security number, and have them sign and really have that record with you. Because if we got 2108 come back to us, and we need to see whether that's what they fill out for you. Okay, so that is something that a protective measure for the small business owners. All right, so CP259 notice. This is one that earlier I said to you that if IRS has some sort of record showing that you got a W-2, W-3, showing that you got a lot of 1099K income, but they don't see your tax return anywhere, that's where you're going to get CP259. And you cannot ignore this. And if you got CP259, ask you to file, but that year you did not, then send a letter back to them. You just cannot be like, oh, well, I don't care, and I didn't have a business. I was frustrated enough not to close it, and I didn't even do much very successful last year, so I'm not doing anything. No, don't take that attitude. and make sure that you file a loss and then you close your business properly. And one thing I want to mention to you, in business world, do you realize that the losses are also money in business? I always tell my folks that losses you have in business should yield tax refund back for you, period. How does that happen? What to do depends on your entity type, depends on what you did with the loss. So if you really have $3 million loss from your business, I want you to come to talk to me, because that's supposed to be turn around, reduce your income, so you get your refund back on the W-2 that you withheld a lot of taxes. Remember, President Trump has like $900 million losses on his tax return. Do you know what that means? That means if he made $900 million income, he doesn't need to pay taxes at all. So somebody made a comment saying that he will never pay taxes because he's not going to have $940 million net income come out of his tax return. So who knows? And you never know. So, but at least kind of to, I only want to mention those names, these incidents, because they're so well known out there on the public eyes. I mean, if I bring something so public to you, I'm hoping to make some impression on your thought. So when you come across a situation like that, you'll be remembering I said, there's no loss, doesn't yield benefit. So I'm going to go talk to Ying to ask her what she would do if she has a $3 million loss. I will cry first. Then I will figure out a solution for you. Okay? But at least I'm sincere. Otherwise, people don't even cry, right? They're like, what the heck? It's okay. You got too much to lose. And no, every penny, small business owners, I know how hard you worked. And I also know how hard I worked. So there is no penny we should lose. And every penny we spent should account for something. So either account into we made a profit, or we have solutions to utilize the losses, help with a future business, right? All right, my last slide for the day is about CP261 Notice. So this is again, and it happens a lot. And when you file your LLC and your tax preparer told you that, hey, you should make this entity S corp. I'm not saying that is the right thing to do, but if that ever happened, that means you made a late election for your S corporation. When you have a late election, you can't file taxes right away because that status didn't existed in the IRS yet. So IRS only gonna tell you, oh yes, your status is ready and is S corporation, just like you got your green card, so now you can, stay in US, that kind of thing, right? Your company need to get the green card. So they do issue you a CP261 notice. So you want to save that and put that in your file, because that is kind of like your green card for living in US for free. That is your green card for getting the S corporation. So you can use that to file your company as an S corporation. All right, so much about notices today and a lot of information. But just like I said, most recently, these are the notices that are coming through. A lot of it related to the tax payment. And IRS has a lot of things backlogged, but the current years, the 2022 tax return, are the one that they're staying on top. And IRS Technologies is also refreshing, renewing, and improving every day. So they are on top of 2023. That's why you see a lot of these CP10, CP11, CP23, those two digits kind of notice, right? And then if you file taxes you didn't pay, then you're just going to get a CP161. And then if you did, if you did not file your taxes and you're going to be dinged by the IRS with this notice to you. So you have to file. And with those said, it just tells us that vast majority of the taxpayers would have issue related to that. And I hope you don't get letter 2202. But if you did, you know that you can find your CPA to support you through that, and you can do it yourself. Why not? You can learn a lot by doing it yourself. And I also tell you that if you're doing it yourself and to do the audit, even if you got a really bad result, let's say you did it yourself and then ended up paying a lot of taxes, you're not happy and you don't think it's right, and you know that you can appeal. Okay, so you're going to get, once you finish the audit on your own, you're going to get a 30 days letter. That is what we call the assessment letter. When you get that letter, the letter tell you that you only have 30 days. So within this 30 days, if you come to professionals, lawyers, or CPA firm, Community CPA, and we can actually take your case to either go back to the manager of the auditor or go to appeal. So there is ways to get you resettled. You probably ask me that, well, how long does that take? It takes a long time. And I will tell you that, of course, in my experience, the shortest audit I have is probably a couple weeks. And but the longest audit I have, you want to know, is 8 years. But then you want to ask me, okay, the one takes 2 weeks. What was the case? That, there's quite a few in a very short time, but most of the cases are the tax return was very straightforward. And the numbers, everything, there's nothing to audit. And even if they audit the number, the taxpayer can prove it. So it was a very clean and a straightforward tax return. So it closed in 2 weeks. But if you ask me about the 8 years process, what was that case? That was a taxpayer really disorganized and didn't really have anything. The initial assessment, they actually did the initial audit themselves. They owe $1 million. They owe $1 million to IRS. So we came in. It took us 8 years. Of course, it's not working every day for 8 years, but the first 2 years, we redid all the accounting for all the years they were audited. So they were audited for 3 years. So we redid all 3 years accounting. Then we took the ledger and back up everything back to IRS to talk to the manager. Manager says, no, I don't want to consider. This case took too long, and you go to appeal. So I went to appeal. And when we went to appeal, and believe it or not, appeal lost all of our papers we give to them. So they called and go, sorry, we lost all your papers. Hope you still have them, and we want to look at this case. So we have to reproduce everything and then send it over to appeal, and appeal come back and told us instead of owing $1 million, the taxpayer actually get a refund of $543. Okay, so that took 8 years. So with that said, you see how the process is different, right? And so you can actually give yourself a understanding that once you got 2202 letter, don't dream about getting it done quickly. No, you're lucky if can be done within 3 years. So that means whoever you work with, you want to make sure that person lives for 3 years. That company survives for 3 years. And the person you trust need to understand this is not a short-time engagement. So with that said, I think it's giving you some good clues, and I wish you're not getting 2202, and I hope you have a great summer. And on Tuesday, we'll talk about FDIC insured banks and give understanding of bank operation from my simple standpoint. And that would help our small business owners to know how to manage their deposit, how to use their money and to save their money, give more interest income to their money more effectively. All right. So we do have people who deposit, $1 million. Have deposit on checking account for $1 million. So when we do those bank reconciliation, we see these business owners having like $3 million in checking account, and for the duration of 5 years. Are you thinking they're crazy or they're not crazy? Yeah, they're crazy. So let's make sure that we talk about that on Tuesday, and I'll see you again on Tuesday. And at the same time, good luck with your notice and letters, and you will win when you are doing your things correctly. Bye-bye.